Yes, we are live now, Rajni.
Okay.
I'll just start by saying thanks to everyone who has joined. So, a speaker today will be Rajni Kant. This is another webinar that's being conducted by Kerala Startup Mission. So, our speaker Rajni has over 18 years of industry experience. He's been handling project management as well as people development, and currently he is the founder of his corporate mentorship academy that covers all aspects of corporate life, I believe. It is Win-Win Leadership Academy. So if you do find the session helpful, we will leave his contact details. Please reach out to him with any more assistance after the session that you need. And Rajni, I think we can start.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rohit, for the nice introduction. Welcome, all of you. Very, very excited to meet you today for this session. So, my name is Rajnikant. You can address me as Rajni or Rajnikant. So, today's session, I'm going to make a small share with you, a small presentation where I'm going to take you the flow of the presentation. I'm going to share some key important concepts which you can actually use in your day-to-day practical life with respect to handling customers. It can be internal customers or external customers both. Yeah. So with this small prelude, I'm going to share my screen. Yes. Great. So I'm assuming that all of you are able to see my screen. Rohit, is my screen visible? Just give me an.
Yes, Rajni.
Okay. Great. So, friends, welcome again to this session. So, just want to start with this very powerful quote. It says, if you want to connect with customers, you have to reduce the distance with them while working remotely. It might seem as a paradox, right? I mean, how will I be able to really connect with the customer if I'm not able to meet him personally, right? So the whole session is going to be focused on how you can actually reduce the distance between you and your customers, although you are meeting him virtually. That will be the most important theme of today's workshop. Saying so, welcome to the topic. How can you establish a deep customer connect in the virtual and the VUCA world is what we are going to talk today. During the sessions for the next 90 minutes, I will have various interaction points. So if you have any questions or if you have any clarifications or you like a concept, you can type your comments on the comment box and then we will reflect on those comments. Yeah. So what is a virtual world? We all know that all of us are working in the virtual world right now, which means we physically cannot meet anybody and we have to really work remotely. What do you mean by a VUCA context? This is also sometimes called as VUSA. The V stands for the highly volatile market, what we are right now. A classical example is our stock market. If some of you are into stock trading, you will understand the market is completely volatile. One day it is up, one day it is down, one day it is sideways. So we are not able to really predict how the market will go. Highly volatile, and these are uncertain times, right? We are not able to see the what is going to happen next, how long this COVID-19 pandemic challenge is going to really continue, how long the business challenges are going to exist, we do not know. Third is highly complex, because what is complexity? A lot of interdependent businesses are connected to each other, right? One business fails, because of that the other businesses which are connected to that particular business fails, and that's how the whole industry is actually reflecting on right now. And finally, A stands for ambiguity, highly ambiguous environment. So, in this current scenario, how I can make a deep connect to my customers and stakeholders is what we are going to discuss in detail. Again, at any point of time you feel that I'm really fast or I'm actually too slow, you're not able to see me or you're not able to see my presentation, please give the comment in the comment box so we will take care of it technically from the back end. Saying so, I just want you to reflect on these questions. As business owners, as employees working in a startup, as founders of startups, of founders of various companies, as CEOs of organizations, are these your business challenges? One important part of a business owner or a founder is How do I really connect with the customers in this volatile situation? I want more business from him. His business is also down. So, how do I really make a connection with him? I'm sure many of us would have this question. Second, oh my God, suddenly the new normal looks like everything is over a phone call. Face to face interactions are completely missing. Earlier, when I used to go and give a sales deal or go for a sales call to a customer, I'm able to really at least infer through his body language, his verbal cues, whether he's okay with the deal or he's not okay with the deal. Whenever I talk to the customer on a new product feature, I'll be able to make some inference with his body language, right? Whether he'll be able to give me details or not. But now, suddenly everything looks very remote, very virtual. How do I really communicate to him in this aspect? Third, the whole informality is actually missing. I'm sure many of you will understand that most of the business deals are done informally, right? Over a coffee, over a tea, over a lunch, over a drink. Most of the connections are done informally. Even employees working in corporates, I think the kind of connections we were having with our management and the management connections with the employees were very informal. But now nobody is co-located. But still, how will you be able to establish a connect? It's a very important question. Fourth, I think a biggest confusion as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as founders in our mind is this a new time? Is this a time to build new customers? Or should I really work on existing customers? What should I do? If you feel these are some of your challenges, don't worry. I think we all are facing these challenges. But the framework which I'm going to share with you today is a very powerful framework. You, by using that framework, believe me, your connection with the customers will be extremely deeper. And with deeper connections, you will be able to establish great relationships. With relationship, business will actually flow. Friends, I want to give you a small insight into something called as the DREC curve. The DREC curve is called as a change curve. If you see the y-axis, it is the morale of us, of each individuals. If you see the x-axis, it is time. Whenever organizations undergo a change, whenever humans, people undergo a change, whenever a country undergoes a change, we actually fall into these four buckets. The first bucket starts with something called denial stage. What is denial stage? I refuse to accept. I say this cannot happen. For example, when COVID-19 pandemic started in China, I think many of us in India, we said that, no, this has no chance to really spread to the entire world. India will never experience this. This is not possible to, this pandemic to enter India. So we were completely on the denial stage. Another important example, when the lockdown was announced, we said, oh my God, I can't be at home and continue my work. My work has to have a face-to-face interaction. So each one of us go through a mode. First mode is called as the denial mode. Then we fall into the second stage, which is called as the resistance stage. In the second stage, you should really see the axis. The morale is extremely down. What is the resistance stage? Although lockdown is announced, I'm really resistant to really follow the rules and regulation. How can I sit at home all the day and just not do anything? I want to really get that fresh air and go outside. I want to meet at least one or two people. So a lot of resistance in us for us to really accept that particular change. Then after a period of time, you have to really understand that from the left side of the whole framework, we are actually moving to the right side of the framework. Then we slowly start exploring. How do we slowly start exploring? We say that, okay, now I cannot do, this is the new normality of the whole world. Let me start exploring something where I can start working. So we started exploring certain possibilities of how our work can be done, of how we can manage the household chores. So we were slowly experiencing and exploring lot of possibilities. And finally, the fourth stage is something called as the commitment stage, where now we feel, okay, even though the lockdown gets extended, I know how to really work. I know how to really manage my family. I'm getting more comfortable to this change. Is the fourth stage called commitment stage. Whether it is countries, whether it is companies, whether it is human beings, all of us go through four stages. But what one important thing to observe is many of them move from the left side of the curve to the right side of the curve very, very, very quickly. Whereas few of them take a lot of time to navigate across this particular curve. Why? Because of a very important mindset, and I call that as a key mindset for change. And the key mindset for change is something called the acceptance mindset. The sooner we accept, we move on to the right side of the curve. If we take long time to really accept certain things, then we still remain at the left side of the curve. A classical example of countries which showed acceptance initially was India, for example, our country, South Korea. And all these countries were actually able to really manage and control the spread of this pandemic, right? So we actually moving to the right side of the curve right now. But for many countries like America, Italy, and all these countries took really a lot of time, and even now taking a lot of time to really move from the left side of the curve to the right side of the curve. Only with this mindset, we can actually move ahead in terms of developing our skills on how we can connect with customers better. At this point of time, I want to ask you a very important question. Please reflect on this question. If I'm asking you to rate your acceptance score, I will repeat. If I'm asking you to rate your acceptance score, professionally or personally, out of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, where do you think you will stand? I think it is important to put a score and then understand how we can actually move faster towards the right hand of the curve. So my first thought is the sooner we accept, we actually move and exponentially grow faster. My second concept is this is a circle, okay? I call this as a circle concept. This circle I want to name as something called a circle of concern. What do I mean by circle of concern? In simple definitions, what I cannot change. COVID-19 pandemic. Can I change? Can I control it? No. As an individual, I cannot do anything about it. Can I get down the numbers? No, it is actually not possible. Can I influence the lockdown? No, I cannot influence the lockdown. Can I influence the businesses which are down right now? The whole country is facing it, so I cannot do this alone from my side. So there are a lot of external parameters around us, which I call as something called the circle of concern. Okay? What I cannot change. Okay? But many of them are actually managing the circle of concern very well by introducing something called a circle of influence. Circle of influence is what I can change, how I can work in this situation of concern, which is available everywhere. Circle of concern is what I can change. The sooner we are actually moving away from the acceptance to the right side of the graph, which I showed you earlier, we are actually moving into a circle called the circle of influence. I want to give you some real examples here, which really hit me hard, especially in this pandemic. The first example is the maid, who was working with us. We said 2 months, please don't come in, but we'll give you the salary. You will please remain at home, okay? But this maid, she want to really generate income because she cannot run the whole family with the income which she's been just getting, right? So immediately the next day, her switch was so drastic, she started selling vegetables. So from what she was doing earlier, just because of this change, just because of thinking what she can do, she actually moved into a vegetable vendor. I thought that shift was very drastic. The second example I want to share is my doctor, okay, ophthalmologist, eye doctor. We know that eye doctors always wanted people to come in person and test, right? So my daughter had a small eye infection. And we were really worried because we are not able to take her to the doctor because there's no physical clinic anywhere. You know what she said? Rashni, we have actually become a virtual doctor. We can do a video conferencing. There I will inspect the infection and then I'm going to propose some solutions of how you can actually reduce the infection. And believe me, through a video conferencing, the ophthalmologist doctor, whom we never thought earlier doctors can become virtual doctors, she treated my daughter and she's absolutely well. Teachers, moving to virtual teachers. We never thought classrooms can be replaced by completely online, right? But what are we experiencing right now is completely online. In this situation, this is the best we can actually do. This is nothing but the circle of influence. The fourth example I want to share is Swiggy. We all know that Swiggy runs business, and I think their business is really functioning, at least to an extent, compared to other businesses. But Swiggy did a small change. They introduced a concept called as Swiggy Genie. What is Swiggy Genie? Instead of just giving food parcels, they started also a courier service, which means if you want to really give a courier to your friend who's about 10 kilometers from where you are, you have to just order through Swiggy Genie. A person will actually come and contactless, he will actually take your delivery and then pass it on to your friend. So the change which they made was very quick. And I call that as a circle of concern. When you are not able to influence what is around you, but you can actually do something what is possible from your end, that is called as circle of influence. Another classical example is a company called as Asian Paints, whom we all respect a lot. If you all talk to any of the stockbrokers, they'll say one of the great companies to really invest is Asian Paints, right? Because of their management style, because of the values and demonstration, and because of their change adaptability. If you see, after COVID-19 or immediately during that particular period, Asian Paints announced that they are getting into something called as a sanitizer industry. They're going to introduce hand sanitizers and floor sanitizers. A quick adaptation into the current context. So my point of view here is circle of concern is what we cannot change. I can say as a training and consultant, I got many lakhs of purchase orders in March, and now all the consulting assignments have actually got cancelled because of this particular pandemic. One, I can really reflect upon it and say that, oh my God, I missed so much. On the second aspect, I can quickly adopt to a virtual mode and still do consulting and then earn so much of money. How fast we are able to move from circle of concern to circle of influence. I want to show you a small video, friends. Please look at the video and tell me whether what are you thinking about in this particular video. So I'm going to do a small share of this video. Rohit, please tell me whether you're able to hear my video sound.
Sure.
Okay, so this video, before I actually play the video, let me give you a small context of this video. The video goes like this. It's a real life business case study. I think many business schools are debating and understanding how this is actually done, what is the thought process and so on. So this happens in Mumbai. This happened in Mumbai. So there was a lady who had two children, and in one of the incidents, her husband passed away suddenly due to a heart attack. And her husband was the only person who was the earning member of the whole family. And suddenly the world became upside down for her because one, she has to fund the education of the children. Second, she has to really earn money for a living. And third, she was not working. Okay. See, in this particular circle of concern, what did the lady do? Please watch this video.
शहर में कुछ लोग एक ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं जो मुझे बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग समझ आता है। मैं जिस काम की बात कर रहा हूँ वो काम ये औरत भी करती है। वो रोज यहाँ बैठकर वो लोगों को घास बेचती है, क्योंकि गाय को पवित्र और उसे घास खिलाना पुण्य का काम माना जाता है। बहुत सारे लोग औरत से थोड़ा सा घास खरीदते हैं और बाजू में खड़ी इन गायों को खिलाते हैं। अब अगर आप ध्यान से सोचें तो यह औरत का काम एक बेहतरीन बिजनेस मॉडल है। चारों गाय उसकी है, घास भी उसका है और गायों को घास खिलाने की जिम्मेदारी भी उसी की है, लेकिन वो अपना काम दूसरों से करवा रही है और ऊपर से पैसे भी कमा रही है। इन गायों से मिलने वाले दूध से भी उसी का फायदा होता है। तो बड़ी समझदारी से उसने अपनी जिम्मेदारी को पैसे कमाने के एक तरीके में तब्दील कर दिया है। अब ऐसा भी नहीं कह सकते कि वो लोगों को बेवकूफ बना रही है। लोग घास खरीदकर गायों को खिलाने के लिए राजी हैं, क्योंकि मुंबई जैसे महानगर में उन्हें ये पुण्य का काम करने को मिल रहा है। लोग पुण्य कमाकर खुश हैं और ये औरत कुछ पैसे कमाकर। इट्स म्यूचुअल बेनिफिट।
Rohit, was the audio audible?
Yes, Rajni. Very clear. Yeah.
Thank you. So, friends, any comments from your side till what we discussed right now? Any comments from your side, please enter in the chat box. Any questions you have, please enter the chat box. Because I want to give you a small pause here and reflect two the important things which we spoke about. One is the acceptance. Second is the circle of influence. So I'm just going to give you about 5 seconds for you to pass on your thoughts, queries, what you think about it. And then after this, I'm going to share a very powerful concept. If everything is okay so far in terms of the voice clarity, the concept clarity, please also type a yes. We're going okay, good, so that I understand that all of you are with me until this particular point.
Everyone's happy so far with me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Super. Okay, friends, this last 60 minutes is going to be very critical in terms of the concept which I'm explaining to you. This is a very powerful concept that you can use professionally and personally, managing your external, internal stakeholders. So please be with me, take some notes if it is required. I'm going to explain this concept scientifically. How do you establish a deep energy connect with the customers? Let's say a small case. Businessman or business owner is Ravi. Ravi is following with his client Preeti for many days now. He wanted to check with her on when they can start working again and for new business opportunity. Preeti is avoiding Ravi and not responding to him. Typical case, right? You call up a customer, they're not responding to you. You give an SMS, you give a WhatsApp, they're not responding to you. And you're struggling to really get a new business. How do you handle the situation? On the other side, Preeti as a client or a customer, see her feelings. Preeti feels that Ravi is doing too much of follow-up and thinks that he is very desperate. She has many other priorities and doesn't have any business projects for Ravi. Hence, she has not responded. So Preeti does not have a new project because her business is actually down. And every time Ravi calls Preeti, Preeti also gets under the impression that Ravi is wanting more business, and so she refuses to take this call. And because of that, the connect is actually getting diluted. Right? How do I handle the situation? I'm sure we have n number of such situations handling clients. For this, I'm going to a topic, and this topic is going to help us to really understand this quote, which says, if you want to connect with customers, you have to reduce the distance with them while working remotely. Friends, please understand that distance is mostly mind related than physical. And we use these statements day in and day out, right? We say, my neighbor stays in my apartment, but I would like to maintain a distance with him. I'm not getting along with him very well. So I always like to maintain a distance with him. And we use these statements for the people who are living next doors. On the other side, we say, oh my God, my friend is in London, but we are very close to each other. When we say when we are very close to each other, what we are meaning is our distance between both of us is actually zero or very less. That's why we are saying very close to each other. So distance is mostly virtual, right? In the mind, or it's in the mind. So which means we will focus on how do you reduce that distance so that connection can be much, much, much stronger and deeper. For this, I'm going to give you a framework. Okay, framework. The framework has relationship on the left side and time on the x-axis, relationship on the y-axis. So, and both has parameters low, high, low, high. Right? I'm sure you're able to reflect on this. I can actually convert this into a quadrant, and I can say quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? In quadrant 1, both are low. Quadrant 2, time is high and relationship is low. Quadrant 3, high relationship, more time. And quadrant 4, both are on the higher side. Okay. See here, the first quadrant, no time, no relationship. I don't think we have to even talk about this quadrant, so I'm skipping that quadrant. The quadrant 2, I'm spending more time, but my relationship is not stronger. I think one question to really reflect is this relationship important? I think it is an important question to reflect on. Okay, just reflect on that question. Now I'm going to quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 is still okay. I have more time and I have all the time to nourish the relationship and make it better and better and better. In a family, husband, wife, in-laws, parent, children, we have time. We can take time to build relationships. But in a professional atmosphere, sorry, we don't have so much of time to build relationships. Which means the fourth quadrant which I'm talking about here is how do you build great relationships in less time? Because in business, it's all about less time, but great relationship. And I'm going to give you a powerful concept, and I'm going to focus only on quadrant, not 1, not 2, not 3, but on quadrant 4. So my inputs is just going to be focused on the quadrant 4, where in less time, how do you build strong relationships? For this, we have to really understand an important topic called energy and something called orchestrating energy. I'm going to give you tons and tons and tons of examples to understand this topic. First, what is energy? We all studied in physics that energy is a capacity to do a work. When the force of the energy is applied on an object, that object performs the desired work, is what we have been learning or learnt right in our school days. Albert Einstein, scientist, spoke about the world is nothing but energy. Right? He gave a lot of importance to really make people understand the impact of energy. And I'm going to do the same. I'm at least going to attempt to give as much as clarity on this topic. Energy is of two types. One is called as shallow energy. Another is called as deep energy. Energy is neither positive or negative, but depending upon how you invoke that energy, it can create a positive impact or it can create a negative impact. Shallow energy and deep energy. Let me give you an example. Customer is asking you to deliver on time within the timeline and you deliver. This is called as customer satisfaction, which is a shallow energy. Deep energy is customer is asking you to deliver in 5 days, you deliver in 2 days. This is called as customer delight. Customer delight is deep energy. I go to my friend's house. There's an 8-year-old beautiful daughter of my friend. Her name is Roja. I go and ask Roja, hey Roja, how are you? Which school are you studying? Which subject is your favorite subject? Typical question what all the parents ask, right? Will just trigger a shallow energy connection with the child. The child will not even remember me after that. But see this. If I go to Roja bend down to her height, and tell Roja, I'm going to teach you the 12 steps of how to make a powerful hi-fi. And then sit with her for about 5 minutes, teach her the different steps of giving a powerful hi-fi. If I do that, I am creating a deep energy connection with that children. This is the difference between shallow energy and deep energy. You are coming in the lift, or you're just calling your customer or your client and asking him, sir, how's your family? Is all okay? Is a shallow energy connection. On the other side, you're asking the customer, sir, is your family okay? How is your son, Arya? I think he's about 12 years old. The last time when you spoke to me, I still remember him. And he had a lot of interest for painting, right? Do you mind if I suggest you some beautiful apps, especially during this lockdown, he can actually work and create classical portraits? If I do that, I'm triggering a deep energy connection with this client or customer. Now, understanding a shallow energy is a normal interaction, but a deep interaction is something called as a deep energy. Now, I am going to talk and focus on deep energy connections. In that one interaction, in that one statement, how you can connect and create deep relationships is what we are going to talk about now. For this, we have to really understand what are the different elements of deep energies. All what I mentioned in this picture are deep energy emotions. Okay. And depending upon how you invoke it, these deep energies can create a positive impact, or these deep energies can create something called as a negative impact. Let me give you a lot of examples. My first example is on shame. See this. Anil Ambani, we all know, right? Anil Ambani shares this example and experience which he had. When he was about 40 years old, he was weighing about close to about 112 kilograms of weight. Okay, very fat. And he used to go to all business meetings like that. In one of his interactions with a business dealer, he said a very deep energy called shame got provoked in him. You know why? The business dealer came and told Ambani, I am not going to give you my business. You know why? You are unable to take care of yourself. If you are unable to take care of yourself in terms of overweight, how will you take care of my business? And Anil Ambani said that one statement made me to really take care of my health. And in the next 6 months, from 112, he became 82. Now he's actually standing at 70 kilograms. So this energy caused a deep energy connection with him. The shame can also trigger a negative impact. For example, I know this incident. One of my friend's daughter, she didn't score well in a maths examination. When we all visited his house, he called his daughter in front of us. And in front of everybody, he said, she actually scored very poor in mathematics. Believe me, after that girl developed a hatred towards mathematics because this went on the negative side. Pride, a classical example of a pride. An employee is doing really well in your company. You going to a one-to-one discussion and telling him that you do a good job. What kind of energy are you invoking? Shallow energy, right? But you call all the employees of the organization, all your team members, and in front of everybody, you are going to talk about that one achievement of that particular employee in front of everybody. Now you are triggering a deep energy connection called pride in that particular employee. Third, revenge. How revenge can also create a deep energy impact. I'm sure many of you would have watched the movie called Uri, right? The Uri attack, a very powerful movie. In this movie, I just want to share a small incident. The incident goes like this. The incident is the captain will have to really gather his forces to fight against Pakistan. Okay, it's a war where they have to win, and he have to carefully select the team members. You know how this captain will select the team members? He will identify people, the army soldiers, whose family members have got killed in the Kargil war. He will actually handpick them. and he will handpick them and make a team. And all the people who have handpicked had that strong emotion called revenge, and that made them to really excel and win over Pakistan in that particular war. So each of this can trigger positive connections as well as negative impact. Fear. Coronavirus, thankfully, has created discipline attitude among people of the country because of a deep energy connection called fear, right? We are actually sanitizing everything what we buy. When we go out, we are actually masking ourselves, and we are maintaining social distancing because of a factor called fear, right? With this prelude, I'm going again to that matrix which I showed you, 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrant, with two important statements. What are these two important statements? Each one of us radiate energy. I'm radiating energy, you are radiating energy. We radiate energy through our interactions. We radiate energy through our actions. We radiate energy through our tone. We radiate energy even through our silence. Each one of us are able to radiate energies to each one of them. First statement. Second, each one of us also have something called energy sources within us. What do you mean by energy sources? Have you heard this from your friends or who are parents now? My son doesn't talk to anybody, but he only talks to his friends without even minding time. He talks n number of hours to his friends, which means their son has a deep energy connection or an energy source, and when the energy source is invoked, you get connected to the other person. So two statements, each one of us radiate energy, and we all have our own energy sources, which means for some people, you talk about sports, that could be the energy source. For some people, you talk about books, that will be the energy source. For some of them, you talk about the children, that will be the energy source. For some of them, you talk about scriptures, that will be the energy source. For some of them, you talk about stock market, that will be the energy source. For some of them, you talk about movies, that will be the energy source. So it is important for us to really understand the energy source of a person. When I say I know this person very well, the underlying fact is I know the energy sources of this person. With this clarity, I'm moving into something called the quadrant which I spoke to you on relationships and time. I want to show you a very small video. Look at this video, very interesting video. This video is about when Obama was a president, and you know Obama was a very friendly president. So he will actually be entering his office along with his prime minister. Okay, please watch this. He will be entering his office along with his prime minister, and there will be the security guard in front of his office. Obama will notice the security guard and go and give a handshake to the security guard. Okay. What kind of connection? What kind of connection is he triggering with the security guard? A deep energy connection, right? Oh my God, I'm the security guard. The president of a country is coming and shaking hands with me. It's a deep energy connection. Look at the video. There is one more small element to it, which I will reflect on after you see this video. Along with Obama, there is also his prime minister who will be walking with him. He will see Obama giving a handshake to the security guard. See what he does. Rohit, I'm sharing the video. The audio is not clear. Please let me know.
Yeah.
Oh, here showing the subtle difference between Gordon Brown and Barack Obama. Here they are.
Is the audio clear, Rohit?
Very clear, Rajni.
Okay, great.
Arriving at number 10, and look at this lucky policeman gets to shake hands with the President of the United States. Oh, and here comes the Prime Minister there. No. Little difference between Gordon Brown and Barack Obama. Here they are arriving at number 10, and look at this lucky policeman gets to shake hands with the President of the United States. Oh, and here comes the Prime Minister. No. So here's a clip.
What's happening? President is giving a handshake, which means this incident the security guard will not forget in his life, right? That one interaction has created a deep energy connection with the security guard. The Prime Minister is going near the security guard. The security guard is thinking that the Prime Minister will also give the handshake, but he takes off his hand. This is also triggering a deep energy connection with the security guard that he will never give the handshake again to the Prime Minister. So one incident, one deep energy can create a positive impact or a negative impact. With that small thought, I'm coming back, circling back to our same quadrant, 1, 2, 3, 4, relationship and time. Here you will see something different, right? I've put something called shallow and deep, right? The 1 and 2 quadrants, the energy given is more of a shallow energy. The 3 and 4 quadrants is the deep energy quadrants. But here, as I told you, I'm only going to focus on something called as the 4th quadrant. And I also want you to notice a small arrow mark you see, or the star you see at the bottom, called as E triggers. This is the algorithm to trigger deep energy connections with people. So here, I'm only going to focus on quadrant 4. What is quadrant 4? How do you build strong relationship in less time? You can build a strong relationship in less time by using something called E triggers. E triggers are nothing but energy triggers. What are the examples of energy triggers? How can you trigger those energy triggers with your stakeholders, customers? I'm going to give you tons of examples. Each energy trigger should be a deep energy trigger. That's why it is in gold color. So whenever I'm talking about E triggers, all these are deep energy triggers. Can you shoot these E triggers to your customers, to your clients? Let me give examples, varied examples from different walks of life. I studied my engineering from a place called Coimbatore. Many of you would know Coimbatore, very close to Kerala and Karnataka both. So there is an area where there's a bus stand. Okay, it's called as Gandhipuram. Some of you would know Coimbatore. And Coimbatore is known for chaat shops. Okay, Pani Puri, where they say Pani Puri shops. Okay. In one street, there are about 10 shops. And everybody is actually very, very close to each other, located very close to each other. Which means anybody walking on the street has a choice to really eat from any of these joints because they're very close to each other. But fascinatingly, there is one joint, okay? There's only one joint there where you see a huge crowd, especially from 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening. Huge crowd only comes to that particular shop. When the crowd comes to that shop, almost all the other shops will actually empty. Because this person will only open from 5:30 to 8:30. Why? I was really fascinated with it and thought that I should do some research on what is this happening. As a part of my research, sitting there, talking to the owner, what I actually found was the quality of what he's actually giving is not much different from the other shops. I'll repeat again. The quality is almost the same. The quantity which is actually serving is in fact less than the other shops or almost equal. So two parameters we always think for a business, right? Quality and the quantity, both are same. Then why is this shop always overcrowded? What is the fact after my analysis and talking to the owner? This owner creates deep energy connections with the clients. Most of his clients are children. When the children come to his shop at about 5:35 to 6 o'clock, He recognizes every child by their name and he will call their name. Hey Amit, how are you, man, today? What do you like to have? And he also understands the personal preferences of this Amit. And he says, Amit, try this, man. I've added something more to this. So Amit feels so accommodated in this shop. Amit feels that the connection between the shop owner and him is very, very, very close. He refuses to go to any other shop, Amit and his friends. What happens here is Amit goes and tells their parents, and the parents come from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. The parents go and talks to their friends try it out, they bring their children, and this is how the entire fans of that particular eating joint grew in few days. Think from the business point of view. Yeah, when I'm giving you examples, I want you to understand the underlying algorithm used irrespective of the examples and how you can apply it in your business. Second example I want to share, this is another very important example. Amazon, we always know Amazon stands number one in customer service and customer connect, right? And I had a very personal experience with Amazon. So one of my close friend gifted me a Kindle book. Okay, it's a real life incident, Kindle book. I was so fascinated because I read a lot of books. So I bring the Kindle ebook, a Kindle book, and start reading a book. So my daughter at that time was 2 years old. She said, "Oh, Dad, nice, what is this new thing? Can I have a look?" She took the Kindle book, and since she was not able to hold it properly, she dropped it on the floor on the same day. And the glass, which was covering the face of the Kindle book, broke into many pieces. I was disappointed. But then I called up customer service of Amazon and said, "I'm really sorry for this. This happened by mistake. Is there anything you can do for me?" You know what the customer service said? "Sir, don't worry about the Kindle, sir. The next 2 days, you're going to get a new Kindle." And believe me, friends, the next 2 days, I got a new Kindle. What is Amazon trying to establish with me? A deep energy connect. Hold on, the incident is still not over. I take the new Kindle, which has actually come after 2 days. Again, I'm reading the book. Okay, the next day, my daughter comes. She has a juice tumbler, juice glass. This is a breakable glass with her. She's holding on having a juice. She looks at my Kindle, and since she was not able to again hold that right with the tiny hands, she drops the glass. The glass comes, the juice glass comes and hits on my Kindle. Again, that my Kindle breaks. I contacted again the customer service of Amazon and said, "This happened for the second time. Can you do something about it?" You know what they said? "Sir, don't worry, sir. This happens in every houses. Don't worry. We are going to send you another new Kindle next 3 days." And believe me, friends, from that day onwards, I became a very loyal Amazon customer, irrespective of whatever happens. That two interactions has created a deep energy connect with me. Third example, which I want to share, is another very powerful example. One of my friend, his name is Subramanian. He heads sales in one of the corporate, and he shared this incident every time with me. What happened was, as a part of the sales, you have to really close targets within a quarter, and they were almost towards the end of the quarter. And what happened at this point of time is he was not feeling well, and the doctors diagnosed that he has to undergo a small surgery. But he was postponing the surgery because he wanted to meet the timeline of the target. Okay. But in one of the discussions, he told his boss that he's postponing his surgery. His boss said, "Subramanian, from tomorrow, you please don't come to office. Next 10 days, I'm going to grant you leave. You go and get this treated. Please don't come to office." Okay. He goes and gets treated. Just on the day of the operation, his boss visits him in the hospital with a huge bouquet, asking him to really get well as soon as possible. He says, "Rajni, that one interaction, just because of one interaction, I never left the company until my boss was there in the company." That's why we always say, we don't leave organizations, people leave managers, not organizations. And this is a classical example of a deep energy. Every interaction, you have the opportunity to create a deep energy or a shallow energy interaction. Doctors use it beautifully well, right? For example, let's say I have an injury, I go to the doctor, I'm really afraid what will happen to me, and I ask doctor, "Hey doctor, will I get well?" And doctor says, "I'm not sure." When he says that, oh my God, my connect with him is not good. But many doctors will use the statement. What is the statement? They'll say, don't worry, everything will be all right. I will take care of it. These two statements, you feel, oh my God, he is there for you. That's a deep energy connect. I was working in SAP labs for about close to about 11, 12 years. So I was working in Germany for some time. I still remember, okay, especially during the 2008 fall down, the Lehman Brothers fall down, the business went dull. One of our client was BMW. And I'm in Germany. The client calls me at that point in time. The client calls me and says, Rajni, we know that all the businesses have stopped from BMW, but is there anything I can do for you at this particular moment? Because the kind of support you've given is fantastic. So can you please tell me what are some of the things which we can do for you to help your business sustain? And believe me, that's why BMW is one of the top customers for this company called SAP. That's small interaction. So in tough times, what the message which I'm trying to communicate, in tough times, we have a lot of possibilities to really help and support and give what we can. We cannot give what we cannot, but can we really give what we can? I'm a consultant, I'm a trainer. Many of the training budget have been freezed because the companies are going through a lot of layoffs and slowdown. So I called a couple of my clients and told them that in this situation, I know that you cannot pay to me, it's okay, but I want to really support you. So don't worry about whether you are able to pay me or not. You can pay me when the situation is getting all right. But now I want to do workshop for you, not charging anything. And I am investing in a relationship this point of time. This lockdown, this volatile situation is a great time for investing relationships. I think we should focus on investing relationships in this aspect. So my point of view is, can we use a lot of triggers to derive a lot of great relationships with people? Yeah. I want to share a personal example. I think many of you who are parents can relate to this. I told you, right, there are a lot of energy sources with respect to people, and you have to really understand the energy sources of the people. Okay. How you can understand the energy sources of the people? Just calling them on a non-business context. See, every time you call a client, the client will always, and ask about business, the client will always think that you are calling for a business. Some calls have to be just a hello call. Just making a call. I think my manager did this very well. He just called me and asked me, Rajni, is all okay with you in this particular lockdown at this point of time? You just, by asking your client, how are you? I just called up to check, is all okay with you? Is there anything I can do for you at this point of time? I know you are undergoing a lot of pressure with respect to your own clients. Is there any support required from my side? I think one call, just to really understand their perspective, will help them to open up. Please underline the statement. I'm calling up open up. You, by listening more to a stakeholder, to a client, you will be able to really infer and understand what are those energy sources. Try this. No, today just make a call to a client and just say, I just made a hello call to you. Just want to know everything is all right. And in that call, you will see the client automatically opening up a lot of personal things about him. This is how I spend with my children. This is how I do. In that conversation, you will be able to get that idea about what are their energy triggers and then invoke a right conversation. I want to share an important example here, friends, which has actually worked with me in my personal life. My son, his name is Surya. My son, what he does was, when he was a child, he used to get along very well with his grandparents. He used to talk a lot, and he used to keep on talking, be with them. And now he's actually a teenager, he's close to about 13 years now. But over a period of time, his grandparents felt that there is a distance between him and them. Okay, and now they say that, oh my God, Surya is not talking a lot. He's very quiet. He's not spending time with us, and so on. And I also felt that after a point of time, the gap between me and him was actually growing a lot, which means our distance were growing between both of us. Then I felt that I have to reduce the distance by understanding his energy triggers. So I really found out what are his energy triggers. Movies. He always loves movies. He talks a lot about movies. He likes football a lot. He loves football. He likes something called magic. He likes to do some magic tricks. So I found these are his energy sources and started developing a skill to connect with them. So I started gathering a lot of knowledge about magic. I started watching some football matches to really understand the terms and who are the best players and so on. I started watching at least one English movie with him every month. And after a point of time, we started becoming very close. Now his grandparents have a bigger complaint. They say to me, Rajni, Surya is spending actually more time with you than us. Every time is only talking to you. And this is because I'm able to trigger his energy sources. Energy source is a great way. Once you identify, you will be able to trigger those energy sources. This can come with your statements. This can come with your behaviors. This can come with your actions. I love this example. My mentor used to say every time this example, beautiful example. A mother takes a son to a park, and then the mother sees a beggar and shows the son the beggar and tells the son, "Hey son, if you don't study well, you will become like a beggar one day." Right? This statement is also creating a deep energy with a negative impact. Is that right? But think about this statement. Another mother goes to the park along with her son, looks at the beggar and tells the son, "Hey son, if you study well, you can actually change the conditions of these beggars. They can all become employable. And this can be your purpose of your life too." And believe me, these two statements will trigger different positive or negative impact depending upon how you trigger those energies. So my point of view is, if you want to really deep relationship with people, deep connect with people, you have to trigger deep energies. I call these as E-triggers. What are going to be your E-triggers? How are you going to invoke that with respect to your customers? And believe me, if you're able to do this in this period, your relationship will become extremely stronger, and stronger. And you can always ask me this question, Rajni, I have a lot of customers. Is it possible for me to really build this E-triggers with all the customers? I will say no, don't have to. We have something called as an 80-20 rule. What is an 80-20 rule? 20% of your business is coming from 80% of your customer, whereas 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your customers. I'll repeat again. 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your customers. The remaining 20% of your business is coming from other 80% of your customers. My point is, focus on those 20% of your customers who are giving you 80% of business. At this point of time, it will be a challenge to build new clients, but you can actually nourish the relationship of the existing customers, where you can build deep energy connects. Now I'm going to give a small pause. I've been explaining this concept. So very quickly, if you can ask any questions or anything you want at this point of time in the chat box about the clarity of the concept, you'll be able to implement it. Any feedback on the concept, it will help before I go to the last section, which I'm going to close. Another 10-15 minutes.
Ranjini actually had a question that she's asked.
Yes,
I don't know.
please.
I don't know if you can see, but I'll read it out. Does the fourth quadrant apply to relationship with problematic clients as well?
Yes. Beautiful. Thanks, Ranjani. I think it's a wonderful question. Does the fourth quadrant apply to problematic relationships? So I want to give you one formula. Okay, probably I'll write this formula here for all of you. And this is the formula I actually follow for building relationship. If your give is greater than your get in a relationship, then relationship becomes extremely stronger. Whereas if your get from any relationship is greater than what you give to a relationship, then it becomes extremely weaker. So if we have to really build stronger relationship with our problematic clients, I think we should start giving more. I think we should really help them to overcome their particular problems. If we do that continuously in smaller intervals, after a point of time, the client will want to give back. That's what we call as what goes around comes around. When we give more, it will actually come back to us. Thank you, Ranjani, for asking this wonderful question. Any other comments? Yeah. The comment box. Any thoughts, any ideas, any inputs from others?
Yeah, if anyone does have anything, please type it down now before he can move on to the next slide. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rajni, there's one more question. So, Parameshwari is asking, some customers do not have the time to talk about business related aspects. How do I engage with them at a personal level?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks, Parameshwari. I think there's another wonderful question which has come in. I'll just repeat the question. The question is: some people don't have really time to talk about business. How do I really engage in terms of a personal aspect? I'll give you a small example. So many of my clients right now don't are running short of business, and they're seeing how the new trend is going to happen. So I just call them up and ask them on their inputs on how they're actually overcoming such certain problems. So all you have to do is to really understand how you can connect with them personally as well. Just calling up them and asking, is all okay? I just called you to really talk about if things are all okay at your end, and at this point of time, any support from my end is required, could be one way of connecting with them. What I am doing right now is I'm doing a series of interviews with all my clients on understanding their perspective of how business will take up. And as a part of the interviewing process, I'm spending about 40-45 minutes with them. The idea of the interview process is to really collate all these inputs and give it to the training and the consulting fraternity world, so everybody will get benefited. And in the whole process, I'm also going to talk about the client whom I'm working, what are the advantages, how they can be beneficial to the whole world. So this is also helping them to really contribute to my interviews. So we can think about different channels on how we can connect apart from the business at this point of time if they are not having business. Thank you, Parameshwari. Great. So with this thought, I'm almost towards the end of my presentation. So just want to quickly recap what I've been talking. Friends, I have a small request to each one of you. This webinar, I think there should be some actions if you can take after this webinar, will definitely yield a lot of ROI. So I want you to really answer these questions. I'm just typing these questions. You can answer to yourself, you can answer in your own notepad, but please reflect on these questions after this talk. 1, what is your acceptance score at this point of time? Okay, from 1 to 10. What is your acceptance score? Second, what are the concerns? What are the concerns you have on your business or in your profession at this point of time? In my view, list top 3 concerns, what you have. Third, what are the things under your influence that you can do? Things under your influence that you can do. Hope you're able to see my screen which I'm typing, right, Rohit?
Yes, Rajni.
What are the things under your influence? Write what you are going to do. Think about the example of a maid getting converted to a vegetable vendor. Think about a doctor moving into an ophthalmologist virtually, right? Think about teachers moving to virtual teachers. Think about companies like Swiggy and Asian Paints, which we spoke about, moving to what they can do under this point of time. So what are the things under your influence? What are the 3 things you can do? If you can also write this down, it'll give you a lot of clarity. Oh my God. And these could be the 4 things or 3 things you can actually take it forward. And my last question is, for your 20% of your customers, please identify 20% of your customers who's giving you 80% of business. And what are the energy triggers which you will start shooting at them in terms of building strong relationships? If you're able to answer these four questions, I'm sure our actions, our behaviors towards success will actually increase multifolds. With this, uh, my last point is I think this is a great time to invest in relationships. If you're able to invest, we will be able to take it back, right? Whether it is a stock market or it is a relationship, investment has to come first, which means my give to a relationship has to be much more stronger. Invest in building two things: one, relationships, and second is skills. Skills are very, very, very important. For me to talk to anybody, for me to listen to others, to understand the energy triggers, I have to be really skilled in listening, right? So, what are the small skills I can actually develop? If I wanted to communicate someone to anybody, I have to really build that particular skill. So, invest in relationship, invest in skills are the two important elements which I thought can be a great investment to make at this point of time in terms of building deeper connection relationship with your clients and stakeholders. I want to share the name of a book. This book is called as The First 20 Hours. This has given me a paradigm of shift in my thinking, because whenever I think that I have to develop skills, I always think it has to be a longer duration of time. This book talks about in just 20 hours how you can build a skill. Learning magic along with my son, I started building that skill in just 20 hours. And this book talks about the step by step approach of how you can build a skill in 20 hours. Believe me, if you have 100 hours, you can build five skills, and these five skills can help you build your business and relationships. Can be a great investment to make at this point of time. So, with that thought, this is my contact details, and I will be very happy to help you, support you at any point of time. This is my number, this is my LinkedIn details, contact details. I'm very responsive in all the social media which is existing, so I'll be very happy to take your inputs and support you. In this few techniques, all these techniques are highly been researched, and I'm sure you will be able to get some value by implementing those techniques. My sincere request is information will just pass away. For us to really convert this information into knowledge, we have to implement that few steps. So if you can take one action from this webinar and implement it, I'm sure you will definitely see that all of us are growing in this journey. With this thought, I will hand over to Rohit back. Thank you, Rohit.
Very informative session. So I just wanted to thank you again for this. And I wanted to thank everyone, the attendees section also, for attending the session.
Yeah.
Very, very grateful for that. And Rajni, if any of the people in the attendees section, if you found the session helpful, please reach out to Rajni after the session as well. I'm pretty sure he'll be able to help you in any aspect of your corporate that needs some kind of advice.
Absolutely.
So Rajni, if you can just share your details as well over in the chat box so that everyone can see.
Yeah, the last slide.
Yeah, the last slide has it. Okay.
You can take these details. And request you to pass down your comments on this program in the chat box, how you felt on the program, what was your key takeaways. It'll be great towards the close that each one of you just put your key takeaways or how you felt on the session. That'll be great input for us to really get better. So we'll give about 2 minutes for people to enter their comments in the chat box. With that, we will close. What is your key takeaways? What is the one thought process which you will take away from this program? How was the experience on both aspects?
Yeah, so Vijay has been telling that he found it useful because he could find out how you could connect on a personal front.
Sure.
Yeah, very helpful. So Sindhu is saying that and during this time, change has to be constant and execution is key.
Sure. Super. Fantastic.
And the deep energy aspect slide that you mentioned also was pretty helpful for everyone.
Okay. Super. Fantastic. Nice to
Yep.
see the comments. Yeah.
Harimeshwari is also saying, yeah, so you helped him or her focus on new customers and the existing ones, and having a deeper connection with the customers has been very helpful.
Fantastic.
All right. Yeah. So relationship is key. That is one of the main key points that they've learned from the session.
Fantastic.
Keep the clients in a very good mood. It's very tricky situation. Shouldn't go overboard or go underboard.
Sure. Fantastic.
Yep. I think that's about it, Rajni. I think we can.
Thank you so much for listening patiently and sharing your inputs. And I pray God for to give you all your strength, all the strength to each one of you, and have a very safe and successful life forward. Yeah. Thank you so much for participating.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All right.
Bye.